Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Kevin. I'm one of the trainers up here in Eau Claire. And today we're going to talk a lot about hypertrophy. We're going to attack it from a whole bunch of different angles. But right off the bat, some of you might be asking, hypertrophy, what is that? That's a big word, all right? Hypertrophy is simply a fancy word for the growth of muscle, all right? The biggest thing is like, okay, so you might be asking is how does that compare to strength? What's the difference between strength and hypertrophy, all right? The best way to think of it is that strength is performance-based, all right? When you say that you got stronger, that means that you were able to increase the amount of weight that you were able to lift for a specific exercise. So, you know, if you're doing the chest press and one week you were doing the 30s and then the next week you were able to do the 35s for the same number of reps, you would say that you got stronger, all right? It's a performance-based measure. That's what strength is. Hypertrophy, on the other hand, is going to be the actual physiological growth of those muscles. So there are two different ways that your muscles can grow. Either those cells can increase their size, so that will aid in the growth of the total muscle in itself, or those muscle cells can duplicate, they can build themselves up. That is the growth of muscle, that is the part that takes protein, and that also aids in those sizes. So you have both of them going on when you're going on for hypertrophy, but that is the biggest difference between strength and hypertrophy. So today we are just going to answer a whole bunch of different questions, from when would I use it to how do I use it to I'm at my home workouts right now, how can I still go for hypertrophy? Does my home workout change anything? You know, if I was going for a hypertrophy or muscle building in the gym, what if I just want to tone? All of these questions we are going to answer today on in this seminar right here. So stick around. We're going to walk through a bunch of those questions, and I hope you get a lot of your questions answered and you learned something today. Why do you want to see hypertrophy? That is a great question, all right? Why you want to see hypertrophy or that growth in that muscle means likely that you will see a performance improvement in the gym, okay? Your strength will improve when you have more muscle, when that muscle is bigger, and specifically when you have more muscle cells to contract. So like I was talking about earlier, when those muscle cells use protein to build up replicas of themselves and truly build their number as opposed to building their individual size, you will see that strength gain and that performance improvement. You might be able to go longer in the gym when it's going, you know, when you're trying to rep something out, you might, so you'll improve your endurance, you'll improve your strength, you'll get stronger, and it will, all of that hypertrophy will carry over to your everyday life, all right? You're gonna experience an improvement of, you know, when you come in the gym, and I think a lot of you ladies have felt this as well, but when you come in the gym and you start working out, your overall life, you just start moving better, you're stronger, and you're avoiding injuries a lot more as well. So that is the biggest reason why everyone will want to see some sort of hypertrophy. It really does depend on what your goals are at this point, but I will say that no matter what your goal is right now, whether it truly is building muscle, seeing hypertrophy, whether it is strength-based, or whether it is losing fat, anything like that, hypertrophy in itself will benefit you at this point. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but that is the biggest reason why anybody would really want to see some hypertrophy. This is a great question, and this is one that I hear a lot when I'm talking to you ladies in focus meetings. You're nervous about muscle growth because you don't want to end up like one of those bodybuilders. You just want to build a little bit of muscle mass. You're more so concerned about losing weight, toning up, and just having your body look good. You're scared about getting probably too big. And the first thing that I will tell you right now is that in order to get too big, you have to do too much work, all right? It takes so much work, dedication, when it's nutrition, whether it's you're in the gym constantly training for hypertrophy, it takes very planned and sequential programs, it takes a ton of food, and mostly it takes a ton of time to become a huge bodybuilder type person, and that is that is great. If you're going for that, just know that it takes time, it takes a lot of effort, it is a hard thing to do, and that's why it is so valuable. But if that's not your goal, that is a-okay, all right? That is probably 98% of you out there, right? You're not trying to necessarily do a bodybuilding competition. All right, and what I will tell you is that you won't accidentally become that way. It's a long, slow process of hypertrophy. You will be able to tailor it as you need to, and no matter really how hard you are honestly going in the gym, it takes so many more different things to end up looking like a bodybuilder. So I just want you to just kind of ease yourself on that. It's gonna be okay. You are going to make substantial progress, and these tips can really help you no matter what your goals are. Absolutely, hypertrophy is perfect for you right now, okay? Tone up, and what tone up really means, and what you're trying, I think what a lot of ladies mean is that you want to increase your muscle mass, you want a little bit more muscle in there, while at the same time decreasing that body fat percentage. When you have an increase in muscle and a decrease in that body fat percentage, okay, especially in those arms and those hips and those legs, you're going to see what a lot of ladies are desiring for, and that is that toned figure, okay? That is hypertrophy in a nutshell, all right? Building muscle will actually help you to lose fat in the long run, all right? We'll get into that in just a bit, but just know that yes, if you are trying to tone up, hypertrophy is absolutely for you. How do you train for hypertrophy in Burn Boot Camp right here in all of our camps? Just so you know, we do a lot of hypertrophy stuff right off the bat. A lot of our strength days, you are going to hear us say, well, we want you to do 8 reps and then rotate, 8 reps and switch with your partner. Or maybe it's all the way as high as 15 reps and switch with your partner, okay? Even if it's up to 20, all of that is going to aid in your hypertrophy. If you are going for maybe higher reps, so let's say we tell you to do 20 reps, what you need to know about hypertrophy is that the sweet spot to see the most hypertrophy is between 6 reps and 12 reps, all right? Between 6 and 12. So let's say, for example, like we just started, if I tell you to do 20 reps and then rotate with your partner, you wouldn't shoot for a weight that you can do for 20 reps and then rotate necessarily. What you will want to shoot for is something you can do between 6 and 12, preferably about 10, because that's about half, right? Preferably about 10, so you'll do 10 reps and you couldn't possibly do another one, all right? You'll have to rest, and another big piece of hypertrophy is low rest time. So you'll shake it out for as little as possible and you'll get right back to it. You'll do those 10 additional reps to get to your 20, and then you'll rotate with your partner. That is a great way that you can kind of strategize within the gym and within our workouts and cater them to yourself and to your goals of building muscle and seeing true hypertrophy. Ladies, I'm not gonna lie to you, hypertrophy kind of burns, all right? It kind of burns. When you're doing it right, it really, really burns. You're gonna feel that pump, you're gonna feel a lot of blood flow getting into whatever muscle you are working on, okay? So if you're feeling the burn on a certain exercise, you are likely experiencing a little bit of hypertrophy in that moment, all right? So the biggest thing to know about hypertrophy with that burn, it has to be close to failure, all right? So again, 6 to 12 reps is that rep range. You can't do 6 reps of a weight that you could have done for 12. That is not close to failure. You are not going to see hypertrophy and you won't feel that burn in whatever muscle you are working, all right? So what you have to do is you can do 6 reps, but you don't think you could do 7, all right? If we tell you to do 8, I want you to grab something that you could either do for 8 or maybe 9 reps if you were really pushing it, all right? That is really close to failure, and that is going to really help you when it comes to feeling that burn and forcing those muscles to grow. I love this question, all right? I absolutely love this question because it has a massive role in fat loss that a lot of people don't understand, all right? First of all, the biggest thing to know, maybe you've done an in-body scan with us, and we've given you that number of resting or basal metabolic rate, so BMR, okay? That gives you kind of those average amount of calories that you burn within the day, not doing anything. So that's just like digesting food, breathing, blinking, all of those basic existing body functions. That's how many calories you burn, all right? If you exercise on top of that, that is going to add to those calories burned, but your BMR is that basal rate, that base rate of how many calories you burn doing nothing. When you have additional muscle mass, all right, when you are training for hypertrophy, that BMR will naturally go up, okay? It will naturally go up, which means that your work in the gym and your constant effort of building muscle will, in a sense, get your body to burn more calories just by you not doing anything, all right? It forces your body to maintain that muscle that you've built, and all of that muscle that you maintain is requiring a lot of energy. That energy is going to be pulled from your fat stores. It's going to be pulled from any carbohydrates that you eat as well, but the more muscle you have on your body, the more energy that it takes to maintain. So that BMR will rise, all right? Now, why is that a good thing? So here's another example. Basically, what I like to think about, if you're trying to lose weight, and I see this a whole lot, if you're trying to lose weight by running long distances for long periods of time, and you find like, wow, I ran for 2 hours, but I still didn't burn as much, as many calories as I thought I would, or I burn more calories when I'm at burn for 45 minutes than I do running for 2 hours. And there's a reason for that, because long, slow, steady state cardio, which is what that is, long, slow, so steady state cardio, that doesn't burn a whole lot of calories. It doesn't build muscle. It's basically like the equivalent of putting your money into a savings account and trying to accrue wealth through just depositing into a savings account, right? You're going to accrue what you're going to accrue. You're going to burn however many calories you burn, all right? But hypertrophy, muscle growth, is very similar, here's where that analogy comes in, is very similar to investing that money. Instead of putting it into a savings account, you invest it into the stock market, which I know is trash right now, but it grows over time, right? It compounds on its interest and it builds itself exponentially, ideally, right? That is what that muscle will give you. When you build that muscle up, it just takes more energy to maintain. So it is going to do more of that behind the scenes work for you. So that is a kind of a great analogy that I like to use to get people to understand why building muscle is a better reason and a better it's better to put your effort into building muscle rather than doing a lot of long, slow, steady state cardio when you're trying to lose fat, because that'll increase that muscle mass, and that higher muscle mass will decrease that body fat percentage. Does that mean you shouldn't do any cardio? No, okay? If you love cardio, do it. Absolutely, absolutely. All I'm saying is that if you're trying to lose weight right now, that is your #1 absolute goal, then building muscle would be a better option to you than doing a whole bunch of long, slow, steady state cardio. So this question is actually a pretty loaded question. There's a lot behind it, and I'm gonna kind of try to unpack it for you right here. So first of all, trying to lose weight in a specific region, so whether that's your belly, whether that's your, chest, under your arms, in your butt, in your legs, anywhere like that. And trying to do it specifically by doing a specific exercise that works those muscles and that area, that is not actually the best way to lose weight. So the biggest thing to think about is that weight loss is a global system, all right? Weight loss is a global system. Your body is it's not going to pick from specific areas to lose weight. It is going to just take those fat cells, take the energy from those fat cells to decrease the size of those cells. That's all it's going to do. It's not going to pick where it gets it from. This concept is also known as spot training. So, there are many studies that have shown that no, you cannot just do crunches to burn belly fat. It doesn't work like that. However, However, while fat loss is a global system, muscle gain, hypertrophy, is unbelievably specific, okay? This is kind of a no-brainer, but if you're doing hamstring curls, right? If you're doing hamstring sliders and you're feeling that burn in those hamstrings, maybe in those glutes as well, you're not going to see hypertrophy in your biceps, all right? In your arms. And that is for a reason, because your biceps are not involved in that exercise. They are not experiencing that, they're not being forced to adapt to that environment. They are not being forced to grow and get stronger. You're working on your hamstrings. So that is the principle of specificity. So how do those two concepts, the principle of specificity and the lack of the ability to do spot training, how do those come together? So the biggest area that they mix really well is you definitely should be doing those exercises. So if you try to lose muscle or lose fat in your legs and build muscle, do squats, okay? Do squats. Your legs will get a little bigger, but that is obviously muscle gain, okay? That is obviously muscle gain. We will talk about next week, I'll put out another video about hypertrophy outside of the gym where we'll get into a whole bunch of different things, but we'll have to do some of those techniques, maybe a little bit more of that cardio, burning that fat as well, but that increase in muscle mass in your legs and some of the other tactics we're going to talk about next week in one of the videos, hypertrophy outside the gym, that is going to benefit you when it comes to fat loss. So know that spot training does not exist. You can't just do crunches, you can't just do squats to lose fat in those specific muscle areas. However, you can globally lose that weight, and you can specifically build muscle in those areas that you do want to see improvements in. Ladies, all right, that is a fantastic question. That is the super relevant question to you right now. You are at home, you're doing at-home workouts. You likely don't have those heavy weights that you can do like you could when you were in the gym. First of all, you will get back to it, okay? This will end, so have hope. You will get there, all right? But for the time being, you gotta work with what you gotta work with. So, the biggest thing that I can tell you, when you're doing maybe a Zoom workout, maybe you're doing the Devin and Morgan workout that is online as well, the biggest thing that you wanna do is work close to failure, all right? Work close to failure. So if you're doing an exercise and you give up a little bit before maybe you could have, you're not gonna quite see those hypertrophy gains. Everything that you do, I want you to get to a couple reps, maybe 1 or 2 reps within that failure point, okay? That is going to force those muscles to grow. What that means is that you likely will have to do extra reps as well. So maybe you could do dumbbell presses for, you know, a specific weight for 8 reps, but you can do 20 push-ups in a row before you fail and are not able to do them. If you're working towards that hypertrophy goal, you want to get to up to 18, 19 push-ups in a row before you quit every single time, all right? Don't give up. It's going to be all right. We will keep moving, but it's all about getting close to failure, taking as little rest as possible in between those failure sets, and just really forcing those muscles to work and forcing them to grow. So, we will get back to that, ladies. You will get back to here. You will be able to use those heavy weights again. But I wanted to provide you with a little bit of encouragement right here because this is big. You're wondering a lot about, you know, will I be able to still see hypertrophy at home? And yes, you will. You just have to be working at close to failure. So keep doing that and you'll see awesome growth. Another fantastic question, ladies. Super awesome. I love these because they're super relevant to you right now, all right? You were training for hypertrophy, you were seeing a lot of growth, you were getting stronger, you were feeling good, and then all of a sudden, this whole thing happened right here, and we had to shut down businesses. Now we're stuck doing at-home workouts. Ladies, first of all, yes, you can still see growth, okay? Especially if you just started recently, yes, absolutely, these home workouts are going to help you see huge improvements, whether it is hypertrophy, whether it's for fat loss, whether it's for building some strength, you will be able to see improvements with some of these. But if you've been coming for the gym for a while, maybe these home workouts just aren't quite the same, right? First of all, with that previous question, make sure that you are working close to failure. You need to be challenging yourself, and we can all do that in some way, shape, or form. So make sure you are getting close to failure every single time. But be encouraged right here, because there was a study that was just put out, and that study was showing the difference between, so there was one group that did constant weight training, but there was another group, and so that first group saw substantial growth and everything like that, but there was another group that did 3 months on, or no, what did they do? I think it was like 6 months on, 3 months off, okay? Or no, 6 weeks on, 3 weeks off. 6 weeks on, 3 weeks off, okay? And so one group did constant work, they never stopped, they kept going, and one group did 6 weeks on, 3 weeks off, completely didn't do a thing, then started up again. So, and people saw, the researchers saw exactly what you would like to see. And in fact, those, the people who they did their 6 weeks, they built muscle and then they lost a little bit after during those 3 weeks. But right when they started back again, they were able to see that constant growth and continue to see improvements. And in fact, toward the end, they actually ended up seeing similar growth between the two groups. So that is very encouraging, because let's say you are taking some time off, or these workouts have not been all that for you. That is okay. When you get back to the gym, just get right back to it, go hard again. You will experience those gains again, because muscle has memory. All right, muscle has memory, and that is fantastic. It takes a lot less effort to get to where you were compared to building to a new territory. So your muscles will they'll get smaller, but they will maintain some of those cellular components like mitochondria, the energy pieces of it. And because it maintains those things, but it shrinks in size, all it has to do is increase in size again, and you can get right back to where you were. So be encouraged with that, all right? Number 2, there was another study that was put out, and this one, I really like this one. This was interesting. So there was one group that they both worked out for a while, and then one group continued to maintain that workout scheme, but the other group dropped to a 1/9 of the volume, a 1/9 of however much workout, however many reps, and however much volume they were doing before. 1/9, okay? That's like 11%, all right? So basically, almost nothing. And the cool thing is that they measured growth. They measured muscle growth. Literally, they measured hypertrophy. I believe it was in the biceps. It might have been in the legs as well. But as you might expect, the group that continuously trained saw hypertrophy. But the cool thing is that the group that trained for hypertrophy in the beginning, they saw those strength gains, and then they dropped to 1/9 of their volume. They did not see losses, all right? They didn't see much gain, but they didn't see losses. So what that means is that even if you're doing these lighter workouts, even if you are doing something, that means that something is better than nothing. You will maintain, and you have the ability to maintain that muscle that you've built, that you've worked hard over the past weeks, months, years to build up. You will maintain it even if you're doing just a couple things per day, all right? Maybe you get to a Zoom workout, maybe it's, even if it's a light workout, you are still maintaining. So just be encouraged with those 2 studies, ladies. I know you're at home, I know it's tough, and what we are really worried about right now, and what we want you to focus on, is just staying healthy, okay? Stay healthy with, of course, your immune system. Don't get sick, don't go out and contaminate things like, we're trying to stay home, but also just do things that make you happy, all right? Do things that make you happy. Get outside, read a book, show up for you, and you will continue to see that progress. And when you get back in the gym, it's going to be a great, great day. I can't wait to see all of you. But when you get back in the gym, you'll be able to resume those goals. You'll be able to see that hypertrophy and that muscle growth again. Yes, actually, there are a lot of different things that you can do. We've talked about a lot of what goes on in the gym, so this video was primarily focusing on how to go for hypertrophy while you were in the gym or while you were crushing those at-home workouts. And just a quick recap, you want to go as close to failure as possible within 1 to 2 reps. You want to have as little rest as possible between those sets, so when you do need to rest, you get right back to it. And then you're trying to go for, if you have weights, you're trying to hit between the 6 and the 12 rep range, all right? If you don't have those heavy weights right now, you're really just focusing on those, on getting to failure as close as you can. So, but next week, I'm gonna be making a video that will talk about hypertrophy outside the gym. So that is going to be everything else that has to do with building muscle and seeing results and gaining strength and seeing that hypertrophy in the gym. So what that might include, we'll talk about sleep, we'll talk about proper recovery, we'll talk about maybe time of training sessions, all of that kind of stuff, and hit the big one, which is also food, all right? Nutrition, pre-workout meals, post-workout meals. How can I structure my day so that I can best see hypertrophy, build muscle, and so that all of that, all the benefits of hypertrophy can help me achieve some of my goals, all right? We're gonna be answering a ton of those questions. So, but yes, there are a lot of other things that we need to be aware of in order to build muscle, and we're gonna touch on those next week. So look out for that video, but I hope today was helpful. I hope, we got a couple of your questions answered. I hope it was, realistic and can help you, especially during this time when you're crushing those at-home workouts. So I hope this was helpful. If you need anything, again, my name's Kevin Jensen. Reach out. I'm on Facebook. You can ask me, or you can ask any of your trainers that are in any of your locations where you're at. They will be more than happy to help you, set your goals for, especially during this period, and help you to see some hypertrophy and help you build muscle. So I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something new. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.